I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call and determination of quorum.
Sable.
Here.
Lorant.
Here.
Rutt.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
McClary.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Anybody reviewed the agenda? We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes of the December 1st, 2025 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments on non-agenda items. I do not see any public. Moving on to the public hearing. Do we have any public hearing items? Seeing none. Moving on to old business. Don't believe there's any old business. So we're going to move on to the new business. Monthly planning and zoning report, December 2025 and January 2026.
Yeah,
Good. Is there
So-
anything,
I'm sorry?
is there anything you'd like to highlight on these?
Just stating that the report was submitted and that everything is up to date. If there were any questions, I'm happy to try to provide information, but most likely I will need to follow up with you on anything, just because of the length of time in which I've been involved with the village at this point, so.
Okay.
I was going to ask him about this training list of training items, and there's one in there about riparian rights. I was wondering, is that something you're gonna offer to everybody? And is that like, do you have like a schedule for those trainings? It's like in the planning and zoning training, or you don't know where you could find out?
I can find out and send an email to you with that information.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to the riparian rights one if you have something, because we'll be having issues with that this year, right? So I'd attend something like that.
Yeah, just the one comment I had on them, and I'm not going to, throw any blame your way because you're new here. The cover sheet of the planning and zoning report has not changed since October of 2025. So I pulled it out. I was like, I just feel like I'm reading the same thing over and over again, and it's the exact same under departments, initiatives, and projects. So would love, as you get up to speed, to see, any updates on those things, because that first cover sheet hasn't changed in 5 months.
Any,
And I will work with Summer and with Jake to get that updated.
okay. Any other commissioner comments on the monthly planning and zoning report? Seeing none, moving on to,
I'll move to receive and file the December 2025 and January 2026 monthly planning and zoning report.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, zoning ordinance amendment.
Okay, so you have in front of you a memo and then two draft text amendments for section 1311 and 1317. The background on this, met with the chief of police a few weeks back, who had informed me that there's been a number of complaints from residents about people within the village utilizing vacant property, coming up, storing their RVs, staying at their RVs. And upon review of the ordinance, we found that there's inability to enforce it or to stop it. And so we address this by just small tweaks to 1311, which basically just defines storing and parking of RVs as an accessory use. And then in 1317, we add language that prohibits accessory use if there is no primary building, primary dwelling unit, principal building present. So this formally ties recreational vehicle storage to accessory use framework. It reinforces that it cannot exist independently of a principal use. It ensures consistency between the two areas in the ordinance, 11 and 17, and then should help protect the residential character within the village.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we request administration to cause the village attorney to prepare the proposed zoning ordinance text amendments to section 13.11 and 13.17 regarding outdoor storage of recreational vehicles, boats, trailers, and similar items for public hearing before the Planning Commission on March 2nd, 2026, and to request the village clerk to publish and mail the required notices pursuant to section 19.05C of the zoning ordinance.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
You might want to have discussion before we vote on it,
Oh,
in
okay.
case any commissioners want to discuss it,
Okay.
and then call for a vote.
I guess let me ask a question, just again, in terms of clarity. So if I live on Bellevue Island and I have a home, down the road, I own a vacant lot. And on that vacant lot, I store my boat and I store my camping trailer, etc. My residence is not on that same lot. Are you saying that I cannot store my, again, trailers and RV on that separate lot that is not attached to my main house down the road?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Okay. And I guess if somebody has an outbuilding on a separate lot like that, that's been there since 1940, are they grandfathered, I assume?
An outbuilding.
Okay. For example, on the island, we have a lot, several lots, which have just, I'll say, pole barns, garages, etc. Are those, because they've been there for so long, are those grandfathered?
So those properties, that would be a prior non-conforming use, if I'm understanding this correctly, right? Because you have an accessory building on a parcel without a primary dwelling unit.
Right.
So it is a prior non-conforming use. Say that structure were to burn down beyond a certain threshold, and I don't know what your exact ordinance states, but let's say it's 75%. If more than 75% of that is damaged, you wouldn't be able to rebuild that structure in its current place, as your ordinance currently indicates.
Right, well, I mean, I'm pretty clear on the non-conforming structures. I think what we're addressing here are things on wheels. So,
Okay.
so we're storing a motor home on a lot that just happens to have water hookup and electricity, they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. That's, I think, where we're headed with this.
Okay, and that was kind of my next question, because we do have somebody that is on the lake for 3 or 4 months out of the summer, and I think we all are aware of that. It's there for 3 or 4 months. I'm assuming they plug into electric. I don't know what else they plug into. They live in it either part-time or full-time during the summer. We're saying that, again, because there's no residence, number one, and number two, I guess, you cannot live in an RV or a trailer on a waterfront lot, lakefront lot. in any case. Even if you have a residence, you can't have your brother living in a trailer on your lot.
So, okay, a few things there. For the most part, yes. Then you brought up the brother in a trailer. That essentially would be an accessory dwelling unit, which is not permitted within the village, is my understanding. But everything else prior to that, you're correct.
Okay, all right.
So I think the standard is if the building or the defect was in place prior to the enactment of the zoning ordinance, when we adopted the zoning ordinance, then those are like considered grandfathered. So I don't know what year the zoning ordinance was passed, but we didn't used to have one a long time ago. And I know for a fact that if you have a house and you tear it down and you leave the garage there for 3 or 4 years, you're in violation of the zoning ordinance. You can't like have a remainder accessory structure either if you choose to modify the house. I think someone took pity on us, and let it be there for a few years till we built the new house, so. But this doesn't change anything in the ordinance other than the portions about the storage.
This establishes that storing and parking RV is a accessory use. And you cannot, accessory use, accessory structures, accessory buildings cannot be the principal land use of the parcel.
If I could further elaborate on that, we have received complaints from, I think, about 3 separate properties around the lake where people have stored their recreational vehicles without there being a principal structure, basically a home on the lot. And they've been using that vacant lot to use their recreational vehicle during the summer months. It's been administration's position that the intent of the zoning ordinance was that you had to have a principal structure to be able to store your recreational vehicle during the seasonal months. This was not the case for these 3 lots. These amendments are to address that problem because we realized when we looked closely at the ordinance that the ordinance was vague. And so we are proposing these amendments to clarify that you can only store your recreational vehicles if you have established a principal use of the property through construction of a home. You cannot have a motorhome or trailer or any other recreational vehicle on a lot where you are not living there or have a principal use on the property.
Are the RV rules the same?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
So a lot of this language is directed at the RL property. Is this also RV, or are we applying straight across the board? If there's a vacant lot on the lake, not on the lake, no living in the trailer, is that?
It would be for any residential property, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
This does not apply to commercial properties. It does apply to residential properties, whether it's the RL, RV.
Okay. I'm just looking for consistency. is all.
And because the wording was vague before, Darren, that doesn't allow, that doesn't clear the people that are using it in that manner right now, once we clarify the rule.
Correct. If we do adopt this these text amendments after public hearing. It'll go on to the council for consideration for adoption. If it is adopted, people will no longer be able to use vacant lots for storage of their recreational vehicles unless they have a principal structure on the lot.
So your motion right now is to have the attorney look at the amendment, the ordinance amendment, and to schedule the public hearing, correct?
Correct.
I think that's a good idea. Any further discussion? Okay, so we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. What else do we got? These. All right, commissioners' comments regarding planning and zoning matters.
I had a question. What is the handout we got tonight?
Sorry, I should have included that in new business A. So last Tuesday, received this application from the DDA. This is for 4.2 acres for a PUD development. The first step would be determining eligibility of that property for PUD. I wanted to provide all of you with the printout of this so that you may review it at your leisure and announce that you should expect this to be on either the May agenda or if the DDA pursues a special meeting between now and then.
All right, so we're going to come back to this.
Yes, yep, I just wanted to provide you all with that so that you can look it over as you have time. And sorry, I should have said that, should have clarified.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No.
Commissioner?
Oh, I just, I was going to comment, this is for our comments? Yeah, I just was going to comment on this packet here. So I reviewed this packet, and once again, it's smoke and mirrors and a gross misrepresentation of what currently exists at the project. All of the buildings at the project now, except for the main house building in the front, are severely structural deficient. Okay? They're not occupiable.
According to who?
I will be bringing my structural engineering report soon.
Okay.
Okay, I've asked them not to prepare a report until such a time as someone made another silly misrepresentation to me about having some kind of plans. I'm also deeply concerned about this project because it's not economically sustainable from the village community, the village's perspective. It's a large piece of property, and you know the representation initially this was going to be a self-sustaining financial project. There's nothing in this document that shows adequate buildings, businesses, or facilities to generate sufficient tax monies or revenue to maintain a site of this nature. It's a huge site. Additionally, there are not adequate financial resources available within the DDA or their current structure to finance this project of this magnitude. And so the fantasy that they can piecemeal this apart is ludicrous. And I think I have some support in the community. Currently, they've spent $600,000 building a deck and putting some metal roofs on some structurally deficient buildings that should have been torn down. I personally observed the foundation deficiencies, okay, the structural column deficiencies, the lack of proper engineering in the design of all of those sheds to the back. And so at this point, I'm not personally not going to support or be ready to approve any kind of wish-washy, let's do it one step at a time and save money plan, because they've spent $2.5 million, and they used a $600,000 grant. And as I sat and had lunch today at Leo's and looked at the devastation of this, what the site actually looks like to a professional, I see no way of the project moving forward financially successfully. There's not adequate plans, estimates, or designs in here that would justify spending another dime over there, or for the village council to support that. Those are my comments for tonight, thank you.
Do we have any other comments? No?
You know, I think it's kind of tough because I haven't had a chance to read this yet.
Oh, it's my comments, you know, it's no debate.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It's fine.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I appreciate Commissioner Lamb's comments. I would hope that all of us, and I'm confident that Commissioner Lamb as well, we will review this information. It'll come back to us. We will discuss it in detail. I just received this at the same time that you did, so I haven't had a chance to look it over. But we as planning commissioners have an obligation to the applicant, no matter who the applicant is, to give fair consideration to their proposals. And I look forward to learning more about the details of what the final plans are for this DDA project. It's an important project in this community. We all want it to succeed. You know, I think we will have a healthy discussion and debate as far as the parameters of our authority in reviewing and approving the project. I know a lot of work has gone into this, and on behalf of administration, I want to express our appreciation to the DDA, to the council members who have discussed this at great detail. But I hope that we reserve judgment until we've had a chance to review it and have had a chance for the DDA to come before us and make their presentation before we take final action on it.
I guess just one other comment. I believe it was Teresa who told us at one of the meetings that, again, we are the planning group. We are to look at the plan that is being presented, and it is not our responsibility to look at the financials associated with that. Is that correct?
I don't remember saying that, but I would, yes. I would stand by that, though. Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes.
We have certain responsibilities statutorily and through the zoning ordinance. The council has certain responsibilities and authority. The council has the authority over the DDA's budget. This project has already been approved by the village council. Bonds have been issued, $5 million in bonds have been issued for this project. At this point, the steps for other than the DDA board by any other entity are for the planning commission to approve the final plans for the project. And of course, the village council has continuing authority over budgetary concerns for the DDA. And so those need to be handled in their appropriate steps.
Yeah, I think my comments would be along those same lines. We don't ask developers to, give us their whole financial plan and everything. When they come with their site plan, it's, we look at their site plan on the planning commission. So yes.
I'm just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
confirming that that's what I thought I heard
Yes.
in Matt's news, so.
Yeah, and wanted to welcome our new commissioner, Matthew Craig, so thank you for being here.
Just a quick
Yeah.
question. With the plan here, do we take into, if the foundations are bad, do we take that into account, or?
So when you're misrepresented to and misled, all right, is that, prudent planning? So if a project's known to be non-feasible due to, site conditions, or if you know that people are intentionally violating building codes, if you know that the project isn't feasible because of financial constraints, there's nothing in the Planning Act that prohibits us from talking about it. The bottom line comes down, as Darwin said, whatever our statutory requirements are when the approval comes to approve a project. So if we choose to discuss the ramifications to the project or the community, what the long-term impact is, you know, financial is an important part of that. Sustainability is an extremely important part of planning. So the financing, all planning is fluffy until such a time as appropriate financing is in place. Let me give you an example. The West Development Project here, which we went through years of extensive review and discussion. There was public criticism. The project was finally approved. It hasn't moved. It hasn't moved. The owners have bought the property next door and are now moving forward with that project. I don't know why. I would believe it has something to do with financing. Okay? So it's okay to look at all the issues when you're doing planning, look at all the issues and discuss them. My comments were designed to give the DDA director and his people the heads up that I will be looking at these items again. And myself and several other council members have mentioned to him at least half a dozen times over the last year that we're deeply concerned about these elements, and they have yet to bring forth any of the information requested. So when I saw the beautiful pictures, the well-prepared report, and then they have a new buzzword called as-built. Okay? What did they build? Because no permits were issued to build. So what does that mean? So now I have a new word in my analysis. What does that mean? What did they build there without permits? Or are they as-builting and documenting the structural deficiencies that I observed with my state licensed professional structural engineer? So these are just questions that I brought forth so they have the opportunity to answer them. I'm always like that. I always bring forth the questions. So I know what my job here is, and you guys have been great. My experience on the planning commission has been more fun than anything in my village experience because of the thoroughness that we have all given to these projects and the assistance that we've led to those that wanted it. Some people come here and they don't want our help. No matter what we do, they don't want our help. So.
Well, thank you for the explanation, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I guess just another comment, as I had said, right now, in this planning group, the financials are not our responsibilities, and I'm not saying whether I agree or I disagree, but, I guess if I have questions relative to the plan and the financials that myself as a resident in the village are concerned with, I'll go to the public hearing, I guess, when, the council listens to this proposal and listens to the financials associated with it and any bonds or more financing that's required out of my pocket to help fund it. But for now, I'll say, all I'm looking at is the plan. And I guess in terms of the plan, just help me as well. I'm looking at a plan. I'm not going to make judgment whether we have good foundations or structure. I'm assuming that our building inspectors will go out once it's complete and do what's necessary to I'll say, give us a, what do they call it? Occupancy certificate or whatever, to ensure that we have a safe constructed, whatever it is, barn or store, etc. But, I'm not going to get into the engineering of this. I'm going to look at the plan, look at its impact on the community, and, whether it fits within our zoning, etc., etc. Is that, okay. Thank you.
just to summarize, we have the right to ask any questions we want of the applicant, because we do have concerns about whether a project is viable, whether it'll move forward. These are all legitimate concerns that Commissioner Lamb has raised. We have the right to ask those questions. But when it comes to deciding on the application, our decision has to be based on what we have the authority to look at, whether it complies with the zoning, whether it complies with the Planning Enabling Act. Those are the things that we have to base our decision on, not building codes, which is outside of our purview, things like that. But we have the right to ask those questions, and I look forward to requesting that information.
We're good? You're good?
You don't want me to talk more, do you?
No comment.
Look, we're over 30 minutes, okay?
All right, the next regular meeting is March 2nd, 2026. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Should have been a 5-minute meeting.